Is the classic car market on Bring a Trailer and Cars and Bids still on fire? We have experts to help us sort it all out. Tonight we have Romi from The Romi Show and Alex Raphael from Max RPM. The bidding starts now. This is Bid Nerds. Bid Nerds is your daily YouTube car game show, where we predict the online auction results of the most interesting cars on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, Carrera Marketplace, and more. It's just like the Price is Right game show. Play along and see if you can beat the nerds. Yeah, that is the sound that you know. It's time for a brand new episode of Bid Nerds, the live show where we play the prices right with cars on Bring a Trailer and Cars and Bids. My name is John Polnik. We are coming to you live from the Container Park in the Romi studio in downtown Las Vegas, along with my partner Michael Deeb in San Francisco in the fisting room. We don't have a name for your new studio.
Yeah,
it's true, right?
Yeah, we can't. We got a 2-year-old now, so we're gonna have to pivot away from the fisting.
In general, that's probably a good idea.
Although I have to say, in light of that comment, you know, when you have a 2-year-old that's teething, every time I turn around, she's got her damn hand in her mouth. So I don't know, maybe fisting.
Oh man! All right, there you go, getting the show off on a good start.
So JP,
well, hold on, let me introduce you. People are trying to get in already.
Yeah,
I want to do
John?
An intro.
Is there a ghost in the machine?
I know, right? These third nerds, they just get all excited because they just want to kick our ass. Everyone comes on the show and they're like, "This is like shooting fish in a barrel, these two idiots." All right. In studio tonight, we have my friend, my partner, the namesake of the studio. Welcome, everyone, Romi Mirza. How you doing, Romi? What's up, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, JP? It's good to be back on the Nerds again. I'm excited. I'm happy. And I'm ready to look at some cars, but I want to tell everybody, where should they go in order to watch Nerds if they're watching it live on Instagram?
That is a good question because we do go live on Instagram ahead of time, but you can't hear the whole show on Instagram. Right. You have to go. The only place that you can see the show live is on YouTube. Look at Bid Nerds on YouTube. So if you're watching this show, obviously you know that. But if you're watching it on Instagram, go on over to Bid Nerds on the YouTube machine and hit that subscribe and like button while you're at it, and a thumbs up. Thumbs up definitely helps us out. And join the chat. We got a bunch of the regular Nerd Herd already hopping in. We're going to say hello to them in just a second. But first, we want to introduce a third nerd, if that's a possibility. My good friend from Bremerton, Washington, about an hour's ferry ride outside of Seattle. The man, the myth, the legend, Alex Raphael. Welcome sir.
Alex.
How are you?
Welcome, Alex. Thank you.
Oh man, this is going to be this will be challenging.
Challenging to be able to sit through our idiocy, right? It's not so much that it's going to be difficult.
Just trying to be idiots with you, which will be probably easy on my end.
Yeah.
Alex is already chewing aspirin to get through this show. I'm telling you right now.
It's a matter of all right.
It was both, actually.
Hey, Alex, before we get to starting the show, why don't you tell everyone real quickly what Max RPM Motorsports is in Bremerton. Before you do that, just want to let everyone know that Michael Deeb and I will be in Bremerton at Max RPM this Saturday morning.
Let's go.
So you can meet the nerds. Alex, what is Max RPM?
Hey, well, we're a facility that works on Porsches, Mercedes, Beamers, Audis, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and then we also have a level 1 tech, which is our tuning performance division, where we do all of the cool shit, you know, making things faster, lower, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then we've got a all-wheel drive dyno that, you know, we make loud noises and piss the neighbors off. The cops show up and then, you know, they just say hi because they know me. But that kind of stuff, it's a cool joint, and we've been having a good time with it. Used to do bikes. You can see that Ducati behind me, that 916 poster. But the cars just got so damn busy, and we go way back from the motorcycle crap too.
That's an iconic poster. That crated 916, like an original post on 916. That poster's $1,000 image in today's dollars. That especially in that size. That's really cool. I've wanted that poster for a long time.
Wow.
Well,
yeah, so you better lock it to the wall is what he's saying, Alex, when we're there this weekend.
Absolutely. Roll it up.
I got cameras.
Will that thing fit in, can you check that in the airport? We'll find out.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, before we get to reconciling our bids from the last episode and showing you guys all how wrong we were on the last episode, we want to give a shout out to our good friends at Godden Porsche and Godden Classic of Las Vegas. If you have a classic Porsche or you are looking for one, you need parts for one, Godden Classic of Las Vegas is your source for Porsche Classic TM parts and accessories, and also the great place to start if you're looking for a classic Porsche to add to your collection or your first one or whatever. And they also happen to have brand new Porsches there because that is Godden Porsche of Las Vegas as well.
Absolutely. And if I could interject real quick, they are also a great spot to go and get your classic Porsche repaired.
Yes.
They are probably, I would say, the best in the Valley here in Las Vegas as far as coming through and being able to repair those really difficult jobs on the older Porsches. I've been extremely, extremely happy with them.
Yeah, I mean,
did you hear that? Are we implying that Romi broke his Porsche? Like, what happened? There must be a story there.
I mean, the crazy, but they're fixing like your crazy stuff too. Your twin turbo 89 race car, your roof 993 turbo.
Yes.
They're not just doing factory stuff. They're like, they actually get into it. I mean, they just know their stuff. The only people I know that know as much as them is probably Alex up there in Bremerton, Washington, right?
Yeah.
So shout out to Godden Classic. Thanks you guys, and definitely check them out if you're in the nerd herd. Also want to shout out to Anthony Vieira at Our Smiths. If you're looking at your watch right now going, hey, it's time to get to we need to get to the predictions. We need to start proving how wrong the bid nerds were on the last episode, and your watch isn't quite on time. Give Anthony a call at Our Smiths. He is the world's premier Swiss watch repair and service facility. Doesn't matter where you live in the world, give Anthony a call and he'll send a box directly to your home. Put your Swiss watch in there, send it up to him, and he'll send it back lickety split like it's brand spanking new. And a lot like Godden Classic, they also have a great selection of classic watches and pre-owned fine Swiss watches. So give Anthony a call right away.
The new Bid Nerds discount code for Anthony Vieira's Our Smiths is "I saw you on the Bid Nerds." I think that's what the
that might work. Yeah, let us
you
know
say
if that works.
you get a fat discount. That's for sure.
And I know he's in the nerd herd right now. Anthony is hanging out. He's like, I feel like I came in at the wrong time. I'm not going to say the word that he's talking about. Hopefully everyone's coming a little later. Welcome to all the new nerds in the nerd herd. Thank you guys for joining us. Love seeing you guys in the comment. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. That helps us out a lot, and that gets the show, the live stream, out to a lot more people. So please hop in there and do that. Okay. All the business is aside. It's time to get to proving that we are always wrong. Michael Deeb, we made some predictions on the last episode.
We did?
I think we did. I know.
Man, I was $500 away from a royal flush, which means I would have gotten all three of them right in one weekend.
Yeah,
I think that would have been pretty good. But
you didn't. So let's get to it. Let's get. What was the first car?
We can talk about how good I did. Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't get a sing. Yeah.
Chef selected for us a 1960 356B Super 90 that has been modified into a race car literally 20 years ago. And that original modification to a rebuild with a hopped up motor and a roll bar and all the accoutrement for taking the car vintage racing was done by none other than Rod Emory and his shop, Emory Motorsports in Los Angeles.
Wow.
The car was campaigned by several different people who ran it with all the Emory modifications. And it was part of, I think when the car was raced, it was raced under, as they say, under Emory's tent at the track on a regular basis by 2 or 3 different owners. One of the guys who previously owned the car bought it back a second time. And while he had the car in 2022, he repainted the car in its not original, but the Emory painted color of blue. But he changed the motor to a bigger 2.6, actually 2650cc flat 4. So This guy made extensive modifications by repainting the car and by changing the motor from the Emory motor to this new motor, and has brought the car through 911R, which is avant-garde, out of their Scottsdale, Arizona location to Bring a Trailer, where we reviewed it. Chef, thank you for picking this one, because this winds up bringing an interesting argument into the fold. Initially, when this car hit the auction site, it was listed as an Emory Outlaw. But the comments have all suggested, and it's something that I implied when we covered the car, JP, was if you've taken the Emory motor out of it, what's left to call this an Emory Outlaw? This car has been raced for such a long period of time. I'm sure parts have been changed, modified, repainted, and now it's got a different block in it. And what's interesting is, as we were discussing that, we read the comments while we were reviewing the car live. The folks at 911R, shout out to Matt Crandall, he reached out based on the comments to Bring a Trailer and said, I think you should remove the Emory moniker. We can talk about its history as an Emory build initially, but it shouldn't be labeled an Emory because there's not enough Emory left in the car. And they did that. Basically, Bring a Trailer complied with that, and it's listed as a 356B Super 90 Outlaw Coupe, but it doesn't say Emory in the title. So it brought up an interesting argument, one that was going on even as we were covering it in the comments. With all of that in mind, we all discussed that if this was still the Emory motor and the original Emory paint, no matter how much patina was on it, this car would probably be worth somewhere in the $400,000 range and up. Now, obviously, that could be softer because it's a race car, but the Emory name carries such cachet today, and the cars he's building today, 2-year waiting list, and the price is $500,000 to $750,000 and up. So, with that in mind, I thought, having the Emory rinsed out of this car, that this car would be lucky to find $210,000 where I started the bidding. JP took the over and said there's still a lot of hot rod left in this car. He went $235,600. And Anthony Vieira of Our Smiths, our guest third nerd for the weekend, was more bearish on this one and said $197,500 is all this car is going to make on the site. So let's start with Romi. Romi, based on that argument that I just threw on your lap, a cool 356 race car with a hopped up motor, but it doesn't have the Emory in it anymore. Where do you think this car with the beautiful 911R photos would land on Bring a Trailer?
Ooh, that's a tough one. And what did you say the number was that you were thinking about it going for?
I said 210. JP said 235. Anthony said 197. Where are you at?
Ooh.
Give us a number. Shoot from the hip, buddy.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answers.
185.
Wrong. Okay. And Alex,
there's no wrong answer. You sound like my teacher.
Yeah, Alex, I know you have a surplus of time this week and you have nothing better to do than to study up for your guest appearance on Bid Nerds. But just based on understanding, how soft race cars are in the secondary market, but a car that initially carried the Emory name, but the motor has been taken out of it. So this car is a real tweener. It's hard to find out which crack this car is going to settle in between. What do you think this thing would bring with sexy photos from Avant-Garde on Bring a Trailer last week? Give us a number. Just spitball. Shoot from the hip, buddy.
They painted a different color. What was it originally?
It was born in gray, but Emory painted it in this shade of blue, but the new owner repainted it in blue and then changed the motor.
No. I'm going to say $150 because the name, the original name, is really what makes that car, stand out. I mean, it's like a roof. It was a roof, but now it's not a roof, but it was one.
Right. Right. Right.
And then they changed something on it. It's like, what the hell? It's not a roof anymore.
Right.
But it's still a cool car. But I would say $150.
Yeah, I don't think 150 or 188 are bad bids, but this car did do pretty well. JP, it kind of split the difference between us, but I was closer. The bidding stopped at $220,000, where it sold on 21 bids. So let me throw it right back to you, JP, because again, this car was right in between us. Do you think that? I mean, to me, that's all the money. I would actually say I think somebody overpaid for it because of its history.
Definitely.
And I think he'll struggle, especially if he goes out and races it. I think he'll struggle to get that money again. The only saving grace would be if they could track down that original Emory motor and put it back in the car. Then I'd say it's money well spent, because even if it cost you 40, 50 grand to rebuild, I mean, we're talking about a 356 block. It can't, unless it's a Carrera, it's not going to be expensive to rebuild. I think, that'd be okay if you were planning to do that. But if you're just going to race it, I don't think you're ever going to see 220 again. What do you think, JP?
Well, I mean, but this car has been set up for a street at this point. It's not ever going to, I don't think it's ever going to be raced again. I think whoever bought it, I mean, look, if you did dig up the original engine from Emory, I don't think that would help you. Race engines, you can't drive that much. I mean, you get it comes down to hours rather than miles. And if you want the car to be a street car, I think this person that has the car actually did the right thing by changing the engine. That, and on top of it, look, I think the car was well bought, because regardless of the fact that it doesn't have the original Emory engine in it, it still does have Emory DNA, which means the suspension geometry and the way the car is set up is still the way Emory would have done it. And I think that means something. And I think this is, like I said on the previous episode, that this car may not necessarily ever be worth the $500,000 and up that a full-blown Emory would be. But if you want a little taste of the Emory experience but don't have $500,000, you can get into it for half as much. Actually, Alex, what do you think of that?
That makes good sense. I think you're a good point on that.
Have you ever had an Emory car in your shop?
No, I've had some roofs and a Singer. Haven't had an Emory though.
Yeah, that's a different animal. Do you see the 356s in general, like the really old stuff? Because you tend to kind of focus on the turbos and a lot of the modern stuff and the big power stuff.
Yeah, we've got some guys that have a whole boatload of different cars. So we'll get a 356 in here now and then. A lot of them are so nice, they just kind of hover around the garage. And if they make it out a day or two in the summer, because most of the guys have other cars, they will. But I got a buddy who's got a boatload of cars, and he's got one, and it's gorgeous, but he never drives it. So I have to go out there and, ungum the carbs because it sits there and but
yeah, isn't that the normal thing? So the Nerd Herd, look, as usual, Gerd kind of showed us all up. He missed it by $5,000. Gerd is always getting it. What the hell, Gerd? Come on, man, you're killing us here. He is the man.
Like the stuff in your
Doesn't
stomach?
Gerd live in Vegas?
Yeah, he's Romi. You
Romi,
met
you
Gerd
know
like
Gerd.
a million times. So you're like, he's gonna come out next time he sees you. He's gonna be like,
what the hell?
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we love nerd. We love nerd. We love Gerd.
Nerd, you
rhymes
Gerd.
with nerd, which is why we love him so much. All right, gotta dig it. All right, what do you guys think?
You
of the
never heard
results
of Gerd?
this,
He's a nerd.
What do you guys think of the results of this 356?
Oh my God.
Was this
Off the
a
rails.
well bought
Always.
way to get into an Emory car, or did someone just pay way too much for an Emory badge? Let us know in the comments below, and let's move on to the next car. Michael Deeb, what else did we make?
All right,
a
JP.
prediction on the last episode?
JP, you picked for us this one owner. 1987 Toyota MR2 with a 5-speed manual.
Yes.
Our car is located in Cypress, Texas, and showing just 40,000 original miles. This thing is mint, Romi. You're going to want it.
Oh, my God. Look at that thing.
Romi,
Is it a Dorito? It looks like a Dorito.
Does that not look like a white StarTAC Motorola sitting on a dresser? Like,
Yes.
totally. I mean, blue cloth interior.
Wow.
The car is really cool on the inside. I never loved the looks on the outside, but JP brought this up and wanted us to juxtapose this against our unanimous love for Volkswagen GTIs, implying and asserting that this is actually the superior car. In 1987, this would run circles around a Mark II GTI, and we should all lust after it, and these cars are grossly underappreciated. So with that in mind, I started the bidding at a whopping $24,000. JP got mad at me for stealing his bid and then took the over at $25,000, which almost never happens. Anthony, the bearish one, said $14,500. which was only like a couple grand above where it was when we were looking at it, and didn't think much of it. So, Romi, looking at this low-mile Texas-housed MR2, where do you think this car would sell on Bring a Trailer?
I mean, the blue lug nuts sold me.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, that's just super, super awesome. And the velour interior. I think, I mean, this thing is so ridiculous. Are you sure you wouldn't drive it off the lot and it would just fall apart?
It's a Toyota. What are you talking about?
What about those scoops on the side? Are they real? Does that actually go to the engine?
No, they
do.
They don't even.
One side does. It's just like an MR2.
One side.
I'm sorry. It's just like a boxer. Same thing as a boxer.
Yeah.
One side actually
Romi,
does something. The other side doesn't.
Robbie, JP said it's just like an MR2.
Yeah.
It looks just like my Supra. My Supra had blue velour interior. It did.
All right, Robbie, give me a number. What do you think happened here?
Oh, 20 grand at best.
20 grand at best is a very good bid, Robbie. Put a cork in that. Where you at? Alex,
it's just nostalgic.
It is nostalgic.
Alex, what do you think?
Alex, what do you think?
I'm going to go 21.5, but man, I'm feeling really weird about that because I would probably only pay 5, but I don't mean to insult anybody. I'll say 20. What did I say? 21.5?
21.5. Romi,
Yeah, quit laughing at me.
Romi, you should have been on the show last week. You would have won this one. Our car sold for $19,000 on just 22 bids. Anthony actually won that, but Romi, at 20 grand, you were just $1,000 off the hammer price of this car. So, Romi, seeing as how you know these cars so well, are you surprised by that result?
No, I'm not. I'm not at all. That car is ridiculous. Oh my god!
Yeah. Romi's the MR2 expert. Ask Romi what you think, what you should do with that. Yeah.
Anything with bicycle tires, I'm good.
JP, what do you think? I mean, look, you and I were both well over that number. Do you think that car was bought for a good price, and do you think this car will be worth more money 5 years from now?
Yeah, I think that's a good deal. I mean, look, we've talked about Volkswagens all the time. This is a Volkswagen 16-valve Scirocco, a really freaking nice one. I think it's a good comp. If this car went for $34,000, I don't know why the MR2 didn't bring as much. I love Scirocco's. I personally had a bunch of them, but I don't understand why these 80s Volkswagens that are front-wheel drive and torque steer like crazy and are way underpowered are somehow bringing way more money than something like this MR2. This Scirocco, is it really a better looking car than the MR2? I don't think so. They're still just crazy, weird 80s boxy.
Nostalgic.
John,
nostalgia.
slow down. Gregario designed that car. That's an Italian.
Thank you.
One of the most famous Italian car designers of all time.
Yeah, I'm not new. You slow down. I know. I've owned more of these than everyone in the room.
Why would you say it's not a better looking car than the MR2?
Because it's not. It's still just an 80s boxy, blocky thing. I mean, it's just, look, clearly the market agrees with you that the Scirocco is the better looking car. And, in most ways I agree, but the MR2 is the better sports car. Like, full stop. Hands down. Anyone who, if you could get behind the wheel, not
JB,
actually look at either one of them, it's a better car.
You're right. You guys are really serious nerds. Wow.
It's called Bit Nerds.
No, that's right. I forgot. No, but you're right. You're right. Technically, you're right. But the nostalgia of the smell and the look and the way the old V-dubs drive, it reminds me of being a little kid.
But how is that any different from the Toyotas? I mean, you had a Supra. That's super nostalgic to you.
Yeah, but I'm talking little. Go younger. When you were riding in your dad's friend's car or something like that, the rich guy, and he had the cool GTI. It was everything back then.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, I don't disagree that was an amazing experience, but I don't see how it wasn't the same thing when you got to ride in someone's nice Toyota at the same time, especially when all my friends' parents were driving old Cadillacs and stuff like that.
Were they?
Smelled like cigarettes. That was like the go-to, But I don't know. Alex, do you think this thing was well bought? What do you think of these cars? Have you ever done one up?
You said two words that were weird together. Nice Toyota. That was weird. I had a buddy that had that MR2, and it was a cool car, but it was just weird. Because I can't use the F word because it's just weird, and you're making me feel uncomfortable having to talk about it.
You can always buy an RPG and blow it up. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of covered
as
the
a
last
sports
one.
car,
Okay. As a sports car, it's probably better in the V-Dub as far because they were pretty cool when you got on them and drove them hard. They were effing weird.
Yep.
But they were a good car. I mean, but I never was into them. But I had a buddy bought one brand new, and he brand new, and he hammered the crap out of it.
Was he a hairdresser?
Maybe the T-top.
He probably is. One, yeah. He probably is now, but I don't. Back then, I wasn't sure what he thought he was yet.
He was an exotic dancer, right?
Well, so
this show is pretty weird, but I'll come back on it anytime you want.
It's my fault.
Alex, you said something that I thought was interesting in there. You're like, I wouldn't spend $5,000 on this car. And I still see cars like this, and I think of them as $5,000 Craigslist specials for sure. But $20,000 is the new $5,000. There's no such thing as a nice $5,000 car anymore.
No, you're right. I get it.
When you start factoring in the inflation thing, you see a lot of people. You actually have a car dealership downstairs. If this car came in, a one-owner, low-mileage car like that, wouldn't you be kind of excited about it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd be all over it like a bad habit.
I mean, you guys
what are you laughing at me for? That thing's,
No, we're
hold on. No, look. You guys, I don't quite get this because Michael Deeb is in the car business, and you're in the car business to make money. And this is the kind of car that you could make money on. And everyone's acting like that. Like, I get it. It's funny. It's boxy. But I mean, the idea that this is a crappy car is just patently absurd. I mean, this is a great little sports car for not a whole heck of a lot of money. And like the giggling little schoolgirl thing, it's so funny that anybody would want to make money on this. What the hell is wrong with you guys?
Absolutely.
Then go buy one.
I might. For seriously.
Good. You should.
The
then
one
I'll
point
giggle
we
even
didn't
more.
make is finding one in this condition is almost impossible because these cars were so wildly popular in period that most of them, and I mean like 85% of the cars that are on the ground in the United States have well over 100,000 miles. So finding one like this, I don't know how you're going to make money on it because you'd have to buy it off a little old lady that wouldn't know what she has. And so
what year is that again?
Unicorn. Yeah, but
what
like
year
this
is
one
that
just
one
went
again?
for 20 grand.
It's in 87, yeah.
Yeah,
Vintage.
20 grand
I mean,
for this
car.
car.
Like Anthony's like, yes, that's a $5,000 car. Why would somebody waste 20 grand? Because you can't get one of these for $5,000. And if you could, that would be, I mean, you'd be getting such a great car. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you'd be able
what
to
would you do with it?
$2,000.
What would you do with that thing?
Make 15 grand. I'd put it on, bring a trailer and sell it for a lot more.
Drive it off a cliff.
Oh, I get it.
And have a good time with it and not care so much. Jeez Louise, you guys are killing me.
I would have a hard time driving it because I still have to come to work.
I just like how mad JP's getting. I love it.
All right. What do you guys think of the what do you guys think of the All right, we're moving on. Shut the heck up. All right. What do you guys think of the MR2? Was this car well bought? Is this just a $5,000 piece of junk that belongs off the end of a pier? Or is this the diamond in the rough? Let us know in the comments below. Michael Deeb, what other car did we make a bid on last episode?
All right, JP, we looked at a 2010 Porsche 911 Turbo with a 6-speed manual that is listed for sale on Bring a Trailer out of Glen Cove, New York, which means it's one of Ryan Friedman Motor Cars' inventory. Right. They have an incredible selection of Porsches at all times. And this car looked to be particularly special because it's a 997.2 turbo with a manual. And although none of us have any numbers to quantify just how rare this is, JP and I largely agreed that however small a number of 997.2 turbos are in the United States, it was probably less than a 15% take ratio for manual gearbox versus PDKs. And don't get us wrong, PDK is a great gearbox on this car, but the manual makes it that much more special. This was essentially one of the last opportunities to get a manual transmission and a Metzger engine. Also, the .2's got a bump in displacement up to 3.8 liter, which brought horsepower up to 500 bhp, which is makes it a really cool car. Now, our car has kind of a hideous interior. It's all beige. The steering wheel, the carpets, the door cards, the dash, it is really bad on the inside. But and then I guess on the other thing,
That's a
the
funny
car
name.
has 53,000 miles on it, so that's a long that's quite a bit on the odometer of this car. This car's definitely been driven. It's a used car. That didn't stop JP and I from going really big on this car. We thought this car would bring all the money, as did much of the nerd herd. So I went $155,000, which really represents a number for an excellent condition car, something that would be probably less than 15,000 miles on the odometer. JP took the over at 159,997, and then Anthony Vieira went even higher still at $166,500. So Romi, based on our gross explanation as to how rare a car this might be, what do you think as far as a number for this car on BAT with a reputable seller? We're talking a .2 turbo with a stick. Where are you at on this car? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a cool car. I mean, the .2 turbo is cool. It's got the center locks. It's got it's got the Metzger engine. It's got all the good stuff because it's the .1s didn't have all the fun stuff. So I mean, it's definitely a better car. That interior, God, Americans in their beige. I don't know. But yeah, you go to Europe, they're all black. Black interior. America, beige. Beige with my khakis. I think 125 at best.
Okay.
You know, because of the miles and also because it's in Glen Cove, New York, you know?
All right. Good guess. And then, Alex, I know you know these cars pretty well. .2 with a stick, but some miles and a less attractive interior. Do you think the interior would hold it back, or do you think it's the miles that would slow it down, or do you think this car, because of how rare we think it is, might bring all the money?
It's rare because what? It has a stick.
Yep.
Yeah, .2 with a stick.
Yeah, the thing is, sticks are because they didn't make a lot of them. And you had to order them that way. But to me, PDK is God when you actually tune it right or whatever. I mean, it's just you can't say it's less driver. I don't know how to put it in words. The PDK is like, yeah, it'll do everything for you. But if you actually really drive a PDK and drive it like a manual, the thing is pretty amazing. The manuals are cool because, you're moving stuff around, but I don't know if it makes it all that much more of a car unless you got to have something that's different along with your PDK car. The interior makes me want to take it's like a long night of drinking tequila the next morning.
Give us a number for it. What do you think?
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say 135.
135. Okay. Very good. So JP, something funny happened on the way to the Hammer. Our car only brought $116,000, and much to my chagrin, it sold for that number. 116 is all it took. And listen, it's a respectable 40 bids. My 155 wound up being the low bid in the room. But Romi was really a lot closer to it at 125,000. Interesting. Again, book for one of these things is in that like sub $120,000 range for what they would call excellent condition, a number 2 quality. But I would think that the stick would supersede that and still bring a premium of like 20 or 30% over that number. And man, was I wrong. It's hard to imagine, JP, you could get a nice mileage, like a slightly higher mileage .2 manual for under 120 grand. I still think that was a screaming deal, despite this car mirroring book. I really expected a different result. How surprised are you to find that 116 is all it takes to get a really good .2 stick?
Yeah, I'm just floored by that. A 3.8 turbo. I mean, so it's technically not a Metzger engine.
Really?
Yeah, that's the kind of the difference between the .2s, the .1s. Like Romi owns a .1 turbo with
cab.
Yeah, with a cab no less. He's not a cabrio folks. What was it about hairdressers earlier? Anyways, that'll bring it back. But 3.8 with turbo, I mean, this thing is just mad crazy. And I know a PDK shifts faster and does all these things and whatever, and you can drive it faster around the track, blah, 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 blah. It's just more fun to go slower with the manual, in my opinion, which is why I think this car should be worth so much more money. But like I said on the last episode, miles. This is not a collectible car because it's just too many miles to be collectible at this point. So it's just a fantastic opportunity to get into something that is straight up flipping awesome. Rami, I can see you owning this car and sending it to Alex and having him put all the power in that thing.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like I do with my 997.1. And I think this car is good for guys like us because we love the manual, but, it's not an air-cooled car. But it's still a manual, right. So you get all the fun, you get all the modern stuff, but you still get the stick, which is, in my opinion, is better. And you're right, the PDK is definitely a better weapon when you're using it on the track or you really push it hard. But around town, stick, you can't beat a stick. It's too fun. Also, I wanted to ask, what the heck is with the wing on the back of that thing? That belongs on a 997 GT3, not a turbo. That wing is weird.
It's an aero kit wing.
That's the aero kit.
Yeah, it's the aero kit. I know.
Yeah.
I hate that
But
thing. Oh my god.
Think about it though. Somebody bought a car though that has miles on it, so they're not going to be afraid to drive it.
Right.
And it's a driver car, and they got a good price on it, and they can put some carbon fiber pieces on it, whatever in the interior, do some stuff, and maybe make it not so vomitable. But I mean, it's a good car. I mean,
throw some Recaro seats in there, some black Recaros, swap out the steering wheel with like a 991.2 steering wheel,
sure.
Black one and some black floor mats, and I think that interior would actually be a nice place to hang out. Alex, how much horsepower can you actually get out of that 3.8?
Yeah, and Alex, I was under the impression that this 3.8 was a sort of swan song to the Metzger engine. It is still a Metzger block, is it? I want to make sure we get that right.
On that one,
997.2.
Dude, no.
8?
Yeah.
No, they went to the newer motor, the newer block.
It's the M
997.1 and the 99. What is this one again? It's a
997.2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought they didn't go to the DFI until they went to the 991 generation of car.
That's a good,
correct.
Because
but not in the turbo. The turbo has the 997 turbo. .2 is a 3.8. The .1 is a 3.6. Metzger. The .2
so it is
the M97.
The turbos in the GT2s are always one lower.
JP, you are correct, because it's interesting, because I had a 2010 GT3 and it was a 3.8 liter Metzger. I presumed that this was the same motor, but this is they went to turbo, went to the direct engine, the direct injection.
Can this car has something like 700 horsepower? Can you get like 1,400 out of this thing with a level 1 kit? Like how really nuts? Because Rami's paying attention.
Well, that one. Which one has 700 horsepower? The one that's in that we're talking about?
Yeah, doesn't that thing have
500?
No,
500.
500.
I'm exaggerating.
And that's going to be.
Yeah.
That's going to be. That's all right. And that's probably at the crank. Really, put on the dyno.
Yeah.
We could. Well, we've had 1,600 on the all-wheel drive dyno stuff with those motors.
Really?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, you got 600 out of your 996 turbo, right? The white one?
981.
981. There you go, Romi.
I'm gonna have to send you my 997.
Torque is 813.
Yeah, Romi, tell Alex what turbos you put in your 997.1.
So Alex, we did a turbo kit from Fab Speed, and it's like new turbos, intercoolers, plenum. Downpipes not downpipes, I'm sorry, headers and exhaust, and it now pushes, they're claiming 840, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels more like 780.
And what size injectors they put in it?
They didn't change the injectors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Romi,
I won't go.
The bar.
I think I need to send it to you. That's what we need to do. I want 1,100 horsepower or above.
That's very doable. And then, but you can also do if you didn't, have you gone into the motor?
No,
dude. Then
this is all bolt-on stuff.
Your motor's going to lift ahead if it had real power, and then you're going to hate life. Yeah, you need 12 millimeter studs. Go through it. You can make it a 4 or 5 liter if you'd like to. Stroker crank.
Oh my God, I love you.
Well, hold on. Before we get in the weeds about a car that we're not actually talking about.
Sorry.
This particular car here, the one, awesome. We're about to move on to new predictions here, but I just wanted to ask real quick too. Like at 50,000 miles, you mentioned this is a great driver car, a great way to get into that 3.8 turbo. Is a 50-something thousand mile engine? Is it okay to boost the hell out of something to go nuts and start slow, throw in bigger turbos and all that kind of stuff?
Now you could do mild tunes and stuff on it, nothing crazy. But you know what? When I bought my 996 turbo had 123,000 miles when I bought it.
Wow.
Bought it for 23 grand with 3 sets of wheels that the guy gave me, and by the time I sold the wheels, I paid 17 grand for the car, and it's immaculate. The guy drove it, and they're rock solid. So if they're taken care of, the guy got a good deal, and if he's going to drive it, those things are really reliable. So good for him. I mean, the mileage doesn't scare me on those kind of cars.
Good point.
Yeah, so good for him. He'll have fun with it, and not have to make a garage queen and worry about putting miles on it. So, but you can do little things to it, and I wouldn't hesitate at all. I mean, you get to a certain level, you got to make hardware changes anyhow, and wouldn't matter the mileage at that point. Eternal stuff. So.
Well, there you have it, guys. Look for a turbo 997, maybe a .1 or a .2, with some miles on it, and send it to our friends at Alex at Max RPM up there in Bremerton, and he will get you all kinds of horsepower. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with brand new predictions right after this. Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden, this guy. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. If you don't subscribe to Bid Nerds on YouTube right now, I'm gonna shoot this 997. If you said, wait, that's a 996, you're a nerd. So subscribe to the new YouTube channel, Bid Nerds. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. All right, we are back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Make sure you check your watch and so you know what time it is. And Anthony up there at Our Smith will make sure that your watch is always telling you what time it is, which is time to watch Bid Nerds. All right, let's get to some new predictions, Michael Deeb. But before we do, I want to shout out to everyone in the Nerd Herd. You guys are having a lot of fun in the comments tonight, and we love seeing you guys hanging out. Everyone's here. We got Hans, we got Dark Closet, we got Chris Carbine, who just got back from the Texas Hill Country Rally. Sounds like everyone had a great time over there. The whole Spud Syndicate is in the chat. We got Buddha hanging out, and we got some new people. Looks like Robert is here. I'm just digging through all the names in the chat, guys. Sorry if I missed some of you.
Do you know who I had dinner with last night?
Tell us.
Who?
None other than Randy Bloom, who was in town on business. He drove up from the South Bay to meet me at the Nob Hill Cafe. Guess where that is? On Nob Hill. Good guess.
Wow.
But we had a really great dinner and a blast. And he is watching tonight, even though he's on a business trip. I guess because he's not at home with his wife, he can stay up late and play on YouTube. So Randy, I had a great time with him. It looks like Randy and some of his buddies from Idaho are going to rendezvous with us down in Costa Mesa in late April for Air and Water. That is shaping up to be a hell of an event because it seems like folks are coming from all over to hang out with the nerds. Romi, you going to be there? You coming with us?
Sure.
Car's in the show, right?
Yeah, of course it is.
You got nothing better to do anyways. You
Yeah.
hang out with us. You show up for the opening envelope.
I don't work. What are you talking about? Yeah, no.
Yeah, just so you guys know, Friday night, that's the night before Luftkult, we're going to have
26th.
the 26th. We're
26th.
going to have a Bid Nerds, Der Fascination, Vegas Auto Fest, Rami Show barbecue party.
Yes.
I don't know the name of the restaurant, but I guarantee you the food is awesome. We have actually eaten barbecue from there. It's not Haitian barbecue. That's a little joke. Haha, funny. Anybody's been watching the news.
Wow.
But it's going to be a great time. So mark your calendars if you guys are coming down.
Wow.
Some people might know that reference. Some people may not.
Hey, Robbie.
Don't look it up.
coming.
Let's just put it that way.
Hey,
Go to the
Robbie,
Nob Hill
that was a
Cafe
Holocaust
instead.
joke, right?
Oh, yeah.
Should I come a day early?
Love
Funny.
some H jokes. Okay, what's the first car on our list? Let's get to some predictions. We got some really cool cars tonight.
JP sent to us all the way from New Zealand. Ross Churchhouse sent us this 2010 911 GT3 RS that is currently on PCAR Market, showing just 4,000 miles, which is actually, if I read that correctly, where did it go? Of course, they wouldn't do it. I got to go back to the old listing. It was actually 7,000 kilometers or around 4,200 miles out of Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. The 997.2 generation of the GT3 RS was absolutely turned up. The 3.6 liter Metzger engine here was punched out to 3.8 liter, and horsepower grew to about 445, and it got wilder bodywork. So this was on the 4-wheel drive chassis, so it's a wider body. These were slick roofs, no sunroofs. This car has carbon ceramic brakes. It appears that this car was originally sold in Canada, so that makes this one of 71 that were imported into Canada in 2010. But the low miles are the big story here. The car looks absolutely stunning in the white with red. It looks like it's got I think this car has a roll cage in it. Yeah, it's got a roll cage in it and a harness and the whole shebang. So super cool car. And it's sitting there, and it's got about 4 or 5 days before it closes on PCAR Market. And it's already at what looks to be a pretty generous number. However, as the bid nerds do, occasionally we do a teeny bit of digging, and we found that this car ran on Bring a Trailer as a premium listing, which means it probably ran for 10 to 14 days on Bring a Trailer in January, where it closed on January 29th of 2024, just 2 months ago. The bidding stopped at $318,000 on a respectable 30 bids, where it failed to sell. So clearly the person who is selling this car is looking for what I'm assuming is close to $400,000. And they didn't get it on BAT, which in my opinion, and I'd love to know what the rest of the nerds think, is the superior auction platform for selling a car like this, a super low mile, out of the country GT3 RS. I think you would do your best on BAT. Now, 2 months later, this car pops up on PCAR Market, and there's just not a bone in my body that thinks that this car will bring more money on PCAR than it did on BAT. However, when we doubt PCAR Market the most is when they tend to surprise us the most. So although my bid will reflect that I'm kind of bearish on this listing on this platform, I also wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they knock it out of the park. Sometimes they just do that. So JP, knowing this car was on BAT and brought over 300 grand for a car that is a Canadian market car. Now, again, we tend to think that it needs to be 25 years old to bring it into the States. A car like this that was essentially the same specification for Canada as it was for the United States, and as long as you can switch from kilometers on the readout to miles per hour, or if they display both, you can actually bring this car easier than you might think. I wouldn't say this is a lost cause for sale in the United States. And again, it just showed 318,000 on BAT 2 months ago. So maybe there is something here. I'm going to lob this back over to you. Thank you, Ross Churchout from New Zealand, one of the leaders of the Nerd Herd, for picking this very interesting lot because of the comp that just happened some 60 days ago. JP, what do you see when you look at this, and what do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah, I do gotta love Ross. He is the OG Nerd Herd member here. Send us cars, guys. When you find stuff that you think is really interesting, definitely send us cars. Look, it wouldn't be the first time that we've seen PCAR do better than BAT, but it's usually not like there was a dip in the market here this last winter, and we are going into spring and summer, and prices tend to go up. So this is the kind of situation that, the car will probably bring a little bit more money because it's freaking March and not the dead of winter. And then that PCAR Market is going to run around and pat themselves on the back when they do.
You'll never hear the end of it.
Exactly. The question is whether or not it will sell. I mean, we did see the Flying Hawaiian do that exact same thing. He tried to sell his car on Bring a Trailer in December, and then came back in June or July with with his car and did, you know, $30,000-$40,000 better. Okay, yeah, that makes sense when you're selling at the top of the, you know, the driving season. But when it's snowing everywhere and you can't take the car out and you're just gonna have it shipped to your garage and have it stored for months, people just aren't thinking about this stuff as much in, you know, December. So yeah, Romi, I can definitely see you in this car. I feel like you need to get one of these.
Yeah, it's my favorite GT3 RS.
That is a Metzger engine, by the way.
Yeah, and so it's my favorite GT3 RS. The only thing that's better than this is the 4.0.
Yeah, and those are
or a
quite
GT2.
a bit more.
Yeah, well, different. Yeah. But I mean, if this goes over 300, then what is the 4.0 going to be? 600?
Well, they are. I mean, yeah, they're getting $500,000 to
That's crazy.
But that's what people are paying. That's what they're trading for, Romi.
Alex, what do you think of this car?
Not into the yellow calipers of the red. I mean, but it is what it is. I mean, they're cool. Yeah, I know. They're cool, but you know, a brand new. I got a guy that just got it's the brand new GT3 RS, and he paid $100 over sticker, so he's into it like $400,000, which is stupid, but you know, that's what it goes. So you got a brand new one, the new GT3 RS, and then the guy didn't want to part with it for over 300. I don't know, man. I mean, maybe I'm missing something.
Which car would you rather have, Alex? Would you rather have an old generation 997 GT3 RS, or are you all about the newest, latest thing?
Well, the newer ones are really badass. These are great cars. I wish I would have bought. I wanted to get an '07 GT3 RS. It was an orange one, fully. It was trick. Yeah. I loved it.
Awesome.
But the guy just decided at the last minute he wanted not to do what we were trying to work out. But God, over $300,000. The guy should have took the money. But I don't know. I mean, I'd say if he got 325 or something like that, man, I would just freak out.
Let's get to some numbers. Deeb, what
I'll say 325.
Well, hold on, we'll give you the last word on that. Yeah. So
okay.
All right. So JP, just to recalibrate, on January 29th, this car hammered at $318,000, and the seller said no. Our car closes in 5 days from now on PCAR Market. It is currently at $255,000 on 6 bids. Now, the average price for a 7.2 RS is $230,000.
Correct.
What the Haggerty price guide suggests is that a concourse condition one of these, a number one is $390,000, and a number two is about $285,000. An excellent condition car.
That's what
this car has over 4,000 miles on it, and somebody bolted in a roll cage in it, which implies that they've already taken it to the track and wailed on it. This is not a 1,000-mile or an 800-mile or a 1,200-mile example that sat in a garage and just never got driven, which would be the one that would bring all the money. So at $318,000 2 months ago, I agree with Alex. This guy should have taken the money. I don't think this car is worth what he was once offered and refused to. So I'm going to give you my number, JP, of $289,997,000, where I think it will fail to sell and wind up in the chum bucket, what they call the deal tank on PCAR Market, for the $350,000, $390,000, or $400,000 this delusional seller is looking for. This guy should have taken the 318. That was all the money for this car, and I think saying no to that money is not going to age well in about 5 days from now. So, JP, I'm standing on my 289. I don't think this car will break 300 again. He missed an opportunity to catch lightning in a bottle, and it's not going to come back to him. So where are you at when I send it to you at just under 290?
Yeah, I think it's I don't know if it's going to break what it got at BAT, but look, I think those numbers that you just, the average price guide that you just read, I think those numbers are off. This is a .2 997 GT3 RS, and they're just, yes, I know the comps are there that you're looking at, but there just hasn't been there are very, very few of these, and very, very few of these have actually come to market. So I think the comps are off. Bitcoin is on a rip right now. I think this car is coming back. I think people are realizing that the 997 is the better car than the current. Look, honestly, it's not better than the current car, but it's something that has more long-term value. You go and spend that $100,000 over on a brand new GT3 RS, they're going to make a bunch of those, and I think eventually those are going to start depreciating pretty quick because that's one of those cars that it's susceptible to the latest thing syndrome, right? Whatever the GT2 RS is going to come out, and then no one will care about the GT3 RS in the 992. Whereas this 997.2 GT3 RS is a truly rare bird, and your opportunity to actually get one of these is super, super rare, and it's significantly less expensive than what I agree with Romi is the 4.0. Romi, what do you think?
I think it would be better if it was gray because it looks better. I think it smells like Canadian bacon all over it. So
and maple syrup
and maple syrup and mousse. So like it's going to be difficult to work that thing in the United States, and it's going to be a problem if you want to register it and all that. And I don't know. I mean, I love this car. It's a great car. It drives great. It's awesome. It's got all these cool little improvements over the previous generation, but at the same time, it's not worth. That guy should have taken it. I mean, that was a really good.
Guys, am I looking at this right? Are these 10-year-old tires? 0615 Doesn't that mean that these are from 2015?
They're the original.
6 week of yeah.
Holy cow! Wow.
This car.
JP, what was your number, by the way? Did you give us?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess I didn't get to a
No, you
number.
didn't give
I
us
was
a
just
number.
like jibber jabbing. I'm gonna go 299,997. 299,000.
997. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, Romi. Go ahead.
That's okay. It's okay. My number, I think, would be. I don't think it's going to sell well on PCAR Market. I think it's going to be 279.
And do you think it'll sell, or do you think it'll go chum bucket?
Chum bucket.
Chum bucket.
Yeah, it's not going to sell because if the guy didn't sell it at, what was it, 316? I mean, that's
318.
318. That's amazing. It's amazing. Take that all day long.
Taken the money. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Alex?
Hmm.
You said 325 before. Now
that's what I thought. Well,
we're talking you
yeah,
off that ledge, or are you going to stick with it?
Yeah, no takebacks.
No.
No takebacks.
No backs.
okay, then it's going to chum bucket out then because I'm just thinking if the guy was wanting way more than what BAT was wanting, he didn't take it. That would have been all the money, but no. PCAR Market will go way less, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Typically, yes,
give us
but
a
not
number for
always.
that.
I mean, So if I say 325, then I'll say it. Now I know I'm an idiot, but he won't sell it anyways. If he hadn't sold it for 319, it's going to sit there and fester. Yeah, the tires are just going to get harder than they are.
Already.
That's what I mean. I said harder than they are. So
Well, there you go. All right. Well, the nerd herd is all over the place on this one. Racer Nerds at 290 grand. Dark Closet says he should have sold it at 320. So yeah,
that guy's smart.
Yeah, that's a smart guy. Stick with it. Let's hear. Yeah, where's all everybody's numbers? Gerd's at 310. Dude, that always scares me because Gerd's always right. Let's hear. Who else throw a bid on there? Randy FTS at 300. Thinks it'll be in the chum bucket for 350. Hans thinks this thing's going to get up to 348. That's got to sell it. I think that if this thing gets over 300, that the person's probably going to just take the money and run because they know that's their last shot at it. Do they really think that it's going to? I mean, I want to do a special episode where we just go through and talk about all the deltas from in the chum bucket. Let's just look at all the cars in the chum bucket and see what it was bid to and what they're asking for it and what percentage the difference is because it's always ridiculous. What do you guys think this GT3 RS, this 997 rare bird, will bring on a second bite at the apple? Will it bring more money on PCAR Market? Is that even possible? Or should the guy have taken the money and run? And is he stuck with this car? What a hell of a car to be stuck with. Let us know in the comments below, and let's move on to the next car.
Did you see Ross's comment? He goes, Romi, if you buy it, I'll take a ride in it in lieu of your finder's fee.
Romi, are we gonna fly up to Canada and just drive it across the border? Mounties be damned.
That's what I would do. I would just drive it across the border and be like, whatever.
Yeah, we got a car. There it is. All right. I like that idea. Again, shout out to the nerd herd. We've got Ann hanging out. Wow, a lady nerd. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I keep seeing new nerds in the
one and only.
The one and only, yeah. But we do welcome you guys in the chat. It's fun watching you guys talk to one another. All right, what's the next car on the list, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, you selected for us a 1987 Porsche 911 Carrera Targa that is on Cars and Bids. Our car is in Houston, Texas. Better check to make sure it doesn't smell like seawater. The car is showing 65,000 miles. And of course, being an 87, it's the first year that the cars came with the G50 gearbox. It's a largely unmodified car, but when you look at it, the first thing you're going to notice are the Momo 17-inch wheels. Yeah. But that's really kind of it. Aside from painting the calipers red, which I think looks a little silly on a standard G-body Carrera, this is a largely untouched car, and it's relatively low miles. I think you could very easily put this car back to stock. And it's not to say I don't like the Momos, but I think there'd be more value here if this car was sitting on the original Fuchs that the car came with. But it's triple black, low mileage, G50, and it has the Carrera wing. JP, you're going to be shocked. I like this car. I really like this car. And the seller did, although the photographs are not fantastic, the seller did go and paint meter the car, and paint meter he did. There are nearly 12.5 paint meter readings from all around the car, and this car is 100% original paint. And I like that. So, John, there is a lot here, and I just wonder if on Cars and Bids, which I would still say is not the best platform to sell what I think is a collectible grade G-body Targa, if the Cars and Bids people just glance at this car, see the modified wheels, and just swipe right and keep moving past it. I feel like by not putting the Fuchs back on this, for the crowd or the audience that he's going to cultivate on Cars and Bids, that he's ultimately going to leave money on the table. And I'll quantify that with numbers when we go back to the bidding. But I like the car you selected here, and I think you should look at this car and possibly bid on it, because on this platform, you might be able to steal this car. So, JP, I send it back to you. Really great grab, really nice car, very easy to put it back to all stock. And it's got a limited slip diff, and it's all there. Aside from the wheels, it is all there. I really like this car. So there you go, John. Go ahead. Take it away. Why'd you pick this car for us?
Yeah, straight up because it's on Cars and Bids. We've seen a lot of exotics find their way on Cars and Bids now. Doug DeMuro has definitely kind of grown up. We've seen GT3 RSs, we've seen the Lambos, we've seen even the really super classic cars like Lamborghini Countages and stuff like that, and Testarossas. He's gotten the metal on the platform, and we started out this show saying, is the classic car market still on fire, or is it petering out? Is this still happening on Cars and Bids? Well, I can't remember last time, or if ever, have we seen a classic air-cooled 911 on Doug DeMuro. So this is kind of his first shot at it, and he's weird, and he picked a one that is not weird, except that it looks weird. You're absolutely right, Deeb. These wheels are totally wrong, even though I kind of like them. I would be happy to drive this car as it sits. Would it look better with the Fuchs? Hell yeah, of course. But I just don't, it's a triple black Targa with a G50 is kind of a blue chip. This is a dinosaur. This is the car that that everyone wants. And is this going to be the place where someone can get a bargain on it, or will it just straight up fail to sell? And can Doug DeMuro find the right people? I think anyone that knows what this car is, maybe because he has typically a younger audience, maybe they look at these wheels and they don't care about the classic stuff. They don't care about the Fuchs as much. What do you think, Romi?
I like the car a lot. I've actually been sniffing around looking for a Targa of this period, so I really like it.
Duty Brown.
And let me ask you a question. Are there any pictures of the Targa top?
Of the top itself? Yeah, I'll find some.
Because what happens with these Targa tops is they notoriously leak, and the rubber around the top always gets destroyed because they never put the top back on. And then the underside of the Targa, like some people put felt and it looks ridiculous. So is it original or not is what I would want to know on the Targa top. But I think it's a great car. I think it's a really fun car. I think it's a good car to have if you want a G-body and that Targa top looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah, about as good as they come, really.
Wow.
They all leak no matter what, even when they're perfect.
Sure.
But you're absolutely
just
right.
getting it on and off too, because it folds. It's people ruin them. So it looks great. I like it a lot. It's a really good pick, JP. I can see you driving around town in that thing.
Would be quite happy. What do you think, Alex?
You lower it an inch and a half with the black wheels and tint the windows, man. That thing's baller.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Fuchs would make that thing way nicer, and but it's
Agreed.
nice, and those things good money. It's kind of crazy because I just don't. That's a nice car. I mean, I had an '84 wide body um, Cabriolet. They only made four of them. Actually, it was a
Wow.
turbo body, and but I love that style, and that's a cool car. I mean,
Alex, do you
that's
remember
nice.
the '88 Targa that I had like 20
Yeah,
something years ago, and that thing had
that was
200,000 miles on it? Wish I still
yeah,
had that car. That car was great.
Cool car.
man. Yeah, I mean, I a buddy of mine, Rick Krieger's got a bunch of these that are just like 1,500 miles, 2,500 miles, and
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
yeah, and they smell just like they should. It's
Yeah.
I like this car. I mean, it's badass.
You can definitely
Yeah.
see
But
this at
the
Mexico.
wheels are the wheels are the only it's an acquired taste, but that's a personalization thing.
Yeah, you could
Okay.
change them.
Those
change
It's got
it.
wheels,
AC. It's got AC.
JP,
Right.
those
Well,
wheels
there
look
you
good
go.
on your 964 cab, man. Those
Yeah,
wheels look
yeah.
really good on your 964.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
No, I mean the car's great. Look, our friends at Godden Classic, Romi, they're
Yeah.
restoring that.
Yes.
Is it an 80? It's an 88
88
Targa. Yeah,
Targa,
black on black. That's your car, Romi.
M491.
491 and a 470.
Really?
Yeah, that's the restoration this year. I don't know if you heard about this, Alex, but they got a hold. So Godden Classic, the classic dealership, they always every year they have to restore a car in order to keep their classic certification. So this year they accidentally found a car in auction. It was a wide body 88 convertible, black on black, and Steve ran the VIN number and he's like, wait a minute, this thing says it's coming up as a Targa, and he checked again, and sure enough, this was a car that someone back in the 90s, remember when they used to chop those off? This is like a one of 80 car in the whole world, and some idiot back in 1990 something chopped the Targa off and made it a cab. So now they're going to restore it back to the, so they got it for a steal because nobody wanted it. It wasn't original, so it's amazing what people did. Mullets, acid wash jeans,
Tie-dye.
tie-dye, all that stuff, and chopping the Targa tops off of cabs.
That's
were just
right,
bad
man.
things. Correcting the wrongs of the past. Guys, Deeb, what's this car going to bring? What do we think?
All right, JP. So our car doesn't close for another 4 days. Again, on Cars and Bids out of Houston, Texas. And you do have to look. I should do this while we're talking right now and see when was the big flood in Texas, JP? What year was that?
It doesn't happen like every other year. Which city, though?
It was a couple years
Well,
ago.
all right. So the car is only in Houston right now. It spent most of its life in Maryland. So not to say that they didn't have their own floods in Maryland, but at least we know it wasn't in Houston during the big hurricane. But anyway, you do have to be careful with some of these coastal cars. But anyway, our car closes in 4 days. It's currently sitting at $27,250 on 20 bids. Now, here's where it gets interesting, JP. According to the Haggerty Price Guide, a number 2 condition of one of these, excellent condition, is about a $97,000 car, just under $100,000. A good condition, number 3, would be about $66,000. So I would say that this car is a solid 2.5 and almost leaning towards a 2 condition. To me, this should be an $80,000 to $85,000 example. But with those wheels and on this platform, I predict the car will not reach that amount. I'm going to be really bearish on this one because of the platform and because of the photography. Not putting the stock wheels back on it is going to hold this car back. So I'm going to send it to you, and I'm taking a risk here, but I think this is what's going to happen, and I'm trying to win. I'm going to say $65,000 where it'll fail to sell, and that because the guy didn't go get professional photography and put the stock wheels back on it, he's leaving $15,000 on the table. That's my prediction. I think this car should bring at least $80,000. At 75, I'd say this car is a steal. But anyways, I think it's an $80,000 car, and I think he's going to miss the mark by almost $20,000. So JP, just 65 to you. Lots of blue sky over your bid. Where are you at?
I'm going to go a little higher, but yeah, I mean, the platform I don't quite believe Doug can make it happen. I agree with everything you said about the photos and obviously the wheels. But the thing is, even if it were over on BAT, it presented exactly the same way, I don't think it really brings any more over there. I don't think it's going to be the platform's fault. I think that just Targas just aren't loved as much as coupes. I mean, we've said it a million times before. Everyone knows that I'm not a cabriophobe, that I actually prefer convertibles over coupes. And, same thing with Targas. This is definitely my air-cooled 911 of choice right here. I prefer the car, but I know that it's not worth more. If this thing were a coupe, you'd definitely be looking at a $90,000 car, or at least high 80s. I'm going to give it 69 911 and pass it on to Romi.
69 911. I like it.
Yeah, you like what I did there?
I
You
like
see that? Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that.
give
You
it a
know,
little bit.
considering what I paid for my 997, it doesn't make any sense. That's actually more money than I paid for the 997. Which is ridiculous.
Well, your 997 turbo. I don't.
Turbo,
is
yeah.
it though? I mean, compared
Turbo
to
cab.
it, yeah.
Turbo cab.
Turbo cab. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. What are the miles on this car again?
65,000 original, and it's all original paint.
It's really. I'm gonna say it's exactly what the miles are.
Okay. Well, what?
65,000.
All
Yeah,
right.
there you go.
Well, so
There you
I bid 65,000. So give me a different number, Romi.
All
Go
right.
over under my. Just pick it, but just change it by a
You can
dollar.
go 65 911.
65 911.
There it
you
is.
go.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Letting him be cute too. All right, Alex. What do you got?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm gonna say 70.
Yeah, smart
I think
man.
somebody. I
Take
think
the over.
somebody's going to be able to. I think somebody will be able to see through the wheels. You can pick up some OEM original wheels, and that's a badass car. Period.
And remember, guys, this is a G50 car. This
right.
is the transmission that everyone wants, and it is. Look, it's not apples to oranges to say, is this the car that you would rather have over a 997 turbo? I mean, they are worth about the same, give or take.
Which is crazy.
But is it though? I mean, because this is the kind of experience. It's like if you are looking for just a car, right? One car to do it all. Maybe the 997 makes sense because it's modern, it has the air conditioning, it's faster, and all that stuff. But if you already have a modern car and you want to add a true classic, an air-cooled car to the mix, then okay, well, you're going to have to pay. I mean, the air-cooled cars are always worth more than 997s and 996s and all that stuff. So I don't think it's fair to compare the two. You could definitely make an argument that one's my 997 cab, the C4S, naturally aspirated, is leap years ahead of a 964 in performance, but is it worth more? Hell no, of course not. So I don't know. It's what do you guys think out there? Do you think this Targa is going to bring the big money on Doug DeMuro's weirdo site, or do you think they should have put it on PCAR Market or Bring a Trailer? Let us know in the comments below. And I will say that the nerd herd is way all over the place on this one.
Give
Kevin
us some
says,
bids. What are they saying?
Kevin, so the Spud Syndicate is like 59, 911. Anthony thinks this thing sells at 56 grand. That's crazy for a G50. If this were an 80, if this were a Carrera or an SC, an earlier Carrera maybe in the 50s, but a G50 with 65,000 miles, come on, man. I know you don't like, I know you don't want anybody to see your, the top of your head, but come on, man.
Hans says
Racer
74.
nerd.
He looks like he's the high bid guy. Is Hans at 74,000? That looks like it's the high bid.
Gerd's at 62 911. Chris Carbine, who owns a dealership that sells these kind of cars, he's at 68.6. Yeah, Hans is at 74.
Ross,
Randy B 69 and a half. Yeah, so I mean,
let's do this, JP. If this car brings 80 or 85 grand, then I predict we see a ton of G bodies hit Cars and Bid site. For all the reasons you introduced it at.
Exactly.
Saying, like Doug never sells older Porsches. So now he's got a classic 911 black Targa with a G50. If he gets a retail number for this car,
did the ad say that he has the original wheels, or did it?
We don't do any research.
I don't know if you happen. I don't know if you happen to see that or not, because you had mentioned it. You kept mentioning that if you put the original wheels on it. So I thought, because if you're Doug DeMuro's employee in there and you're seeing this car come in, you got to be going, bro, Get the original wheels. Go spend $1,000. Go get the original wheels, and then spend another $1,000 on photography, and you'll get $20,000 more for this freaking car.
They do not. They don't have them.
Okay, so they're stuck with the Momos. Yeah, just
yeah,
lower
because
it a little
other
bit, like
items
Alex said.
included in the sale, and it's keys and manuals and tools for the Targa top and the factory Blaupunkt, but that's it. They do not state the thing, and nobody asked them in the comments for the original Fuchs. So there's no, you got to buy the Fuchs yourself.
All right, Big Daddy Doug, let's see if you can make it happen. Let's move on to the next car. Yeah.
So,
all right,
John.
Oh, yeah.
I still have a couple hours. I'm tuning a 996 turbo, by the way, and finishing up an exhaust modification.
Oh, so you got to dip out.
Are you going to be?
All right.
Well, yeah, and I don't want. This is fun, dude. I got to be in on this. And this is. It's a lot better than having to run home and sit there and watch, CNN or wherever the hell the wife wants to do. This is good. I love it.
Right. That's right. You gonna spread the word? Are you gonna grow the herd? Are you gonna let everybody know that nerd herds?
Dude, yeah, this is cool, man. I really appreciate you bringing me on here. So how do I sign off? You guys are all awesome. I wanted to see both you guys up here. I'm picking you up Friday, right at the airport.
No, we're renting a car, so we'll get off the airplane and we'll find our way over there Friday night, and we'll see you at the shop. We'll see you at Max RPM Friday night, and
Max
all of
RPM.
you out there can come and meet us at Max RPM on Saturday morning. Come and check us out. The nerds will be there. Thanks, Alex.
Cool, man.
Thanks,
all
Alex.
right, guys. Thanks so much.
Good to see you.
All right, brother. See ya.
Bye.
Wow, that's a compliment. He said he'd rather watch us than Naked and Afraid. I like that. That's
Wow.
what a guy. Yeah.
What a
Send
swell
him a
fella.
basket of fruit.
Yeah, totally.
All right, let's blast through these last couple cars here for everybody.
do
We're
it.
doing great.
Okay.
Thanks, Nerd Herd,
So-
for hanging out, you guys.
JP, you're going to crack up, but Sahan selected for us a 1985 Mazda RX-7 S
Yes.
with a 5-speed. This car has 35,000 miles. It's listed out of the Wall Township of New Jersey by Michael Motor Cars. It's running no reserve. And look at that thing. I mean, it
Oh my
literally
God.
looks showroom new. It's an unbelievable detail they did on it. The car looked like it was hermetically sealed. It really does look like a brand new car. Wrap your brain around this, Romy, because I know this is going to make you laugh out loud. The window sticker for this car was $11,554. It has, like 25 features, and they're all no charge. The only thing was $420 for large tires and aluminum wheels.
Those
That
are
was
large
Large
tires.
tires.
Those bicycle
large
tires?
tires and aluminum wheels. That's the
Ooh.
only option. Shipping and
Aluminium.
handling was $189. Imagine
Wow.
getting a ride from Japan for $189.
Amazing.
That's insane. Yeah,
It's
so
small
anyways,
enough. Somebody just put
cars
it in
in
an
good
envelope.
condition.
I mean, shipping and handling. It's like buying
Yeah.
DVDs or CDs back then.
Totally. Yeah. It's like sending your friend a
Totally.
stick of gum. But what cracks me up is that Sahan, Mr. It's Not Fast, I'm Not Interested,
Yeah,
sent us
totally.
this little tiny overachieving, what do they call it? A bag of rocks, right? Like the exhaust on these things. But anyway, there you go. A little tiny RX-7. What is it? 1300cc rotary engine.
That's the rotary?
1.1.
Yeah.
1.1 liter, 12A
1.1 liter?
rotary, 5-speed manual. It's called Tender Blue Metallic. It's an interesting color. It almost looks like Fjord Blue, on the old BMWs. But there you go. Love the pattern cloth interior and the pop-up headlights. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe how do you not love this car?
That's awesome.
But whatever it's going to bring is way more than I would spend on it. But I do these photos, despite we rarely compliment indoor photos, but JP, the photographer, did a really good job. I think the
did.
car looks fantastic in these images. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, this is probably the nicest looking Mark I RX-7 that we've seen since 1985. I mean, this is definitely brings back memories. Lots of my friends these were so cheap in the 90s, right? I mean, this was a
Right.
car that every young guy, you could get one for a couple of $1,000. I've definitely spent some time in that hatchback when you go to the bar and try to bring home a couple of girls. Everybody piles in the thing. You got 2 seats. Well, get comfortable. So it's there's something to be said for that. But yeah, I love this thing. It's a little car that could. Those rotary engines, I'm always scared of the rotaries though, because like no one is left in the world that
work on
can
'em.
fix them. Yeah. It's such a weird power plant. Rami, what do you think of these?
I think it's hilarious. I think that car, I don't know whether it's coming or going. The front looks like the back. It's ridiculous. That's so funny. Look at that thing. You know what I love?
It looks like a doorstop.
It does. Or yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, put it underneath your tire so your car doesn't roll away. It's funny. Like the color is awesome. What did you have a name for that color? It looks like
tender blue metallic. And
tender blue metallic.
Yeah, and I think it looks like Fjord blue, BMW's Fjord blue from the same era,
or the same blue that was on the old 70s 930s and 911s. They had that icy
polar silver.
Yeah,
polar silver.
like that silverly
it's dark
blue.
It's bluer.
More
it's
blue,
bluer
yeah.
than polar silver. It's bluer than polar silver. So I'd say it's more like Ferrari called it California, Azzurro California, which is their light blue metallic.
Okay.
So it does look like that. But yeah, it's a great color.
It
looks
great color, and the car,
especially with the black and gray, right? Yeah,
that's like the car you get for your teenage son. Because you don't want him to die.
Daughter.
Or daughter, yeah. And you're just like, it's got no power. Go ahead. Good.
Yeah, it's also got no crumple zones.
You're going to crash it. They're going to crash it
no protection whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's funny that, everyone, for all the right reasons, busted my balls about the MR2 earlier. Yeah. This car,
And JP, we're glad the show is still on the air.
I'm just like, I'm out of here. This car, look at this thing. It's beautiful now, right? I mean, this car has aged really, really well. And at the time, it already looked old. And that was kind of its downside, is that by 1985, the MR2s had hit the ground. And the MR2 looked like a spaceship. That was like, oh my gosh, that was all 80s design, whereas this car was definitely penned, back in the 70s somewhere. And I remember it was basically a car that you settled with because you couldn't afford the MR2, or you couldn't afford the Scirocco, or you couldn't afford the GTI. It was still a great little sports car, and you're just like, all right, well, it's got the little teeny engine and it handles great. And the people that loved them really, this was definitely kind of like a what do you call it? Like a vegan or CrossFit type deal. The people that love them were like, "There's the first person to tell you about it." How do you know someone loves RX-7s? Because they'll tell you, right? But it's funny that now, however many years later, this is definitely a better looking car than that MR2. Even though
crazy.
the MR2 would certainly outperform it. But not by much. This car doesn't have a lot in the power department, but going around a corner, it will rival just about any mid-engine car because that little teeny engine, it's a front mid-engine car. I mean, that engine's only that big, so
exactly.
it's like a suitcase.
Yeah.
So do we think this is going to bring anything?
Can you pull up one photo of under the hood for Rami to look at?
Yeah. Well,
He's just going to crack up. I just want him to laugh at what he sees when he.
It looks like it belongs in a Tarantino movie. That's what it looks like.
There is a character.
It's too nice.
For this,
It's too nice for a Tarantino movie. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But Rami, grab this photo. Look at that little air cleaner. Look at the little blue air cleaner.
What is that thing? Oh my God!
That's the induction system. That's your manifold.
Oh yeah, it looks like it belongs on a Camaro.
Oh my God! It looks like it belongs on a model of a Camaro.
Yeah,
it's
like
hilariously small.
It looks like we're looking at pictures of a Matchbox.
These things were definitely prone to vapor locking.
Oh yeah.
Really?
I spent a lot of time on the side of the road with my buddy Blue. We would go drive somewhere. We'd get there. We'd get in the car. It would start right up. We'd drive like a quarter of a mile and it would die. We'd roll to a stop and we'd be stuck there for 20 minutes waiting for it to cool down and start up and it'd be fine again. It was so all the time. But
funny.
Is this car going to bring anything? What do we think? This is the nicest one.
I think this car is going to crush. So JP, our car is running no reserve on Bring a Trailer and it closes tomorrow.
What's it at?
85 RX-7 S with a 5-speed, just 35,000 miles. It's way over on the East Coast, but I still think it's going to do well. Our car is
35,000 miles. It's due for an engine rebuild. Sorry, I had to jump in there.
That's absolutely, or maybe it just had one. But our car is at $18,888 on. Let me scroll through the photos. Here we go. 13 bids. JP, I think this car is going to have a Porsche-like finish, and so I'm going to say that it's going to double its money by tomorrow. Look. Excellent condition for one of these is 27. Concourse is 44. I don't think it's going to break 40, but I think $36,000 is in play. I think that's on the menu, and that's what this guy's going to order. The photos are great. The color is great. The condition is peerless. I don't think you'll find another one that nice. And somebody out there, for all the reasons you endorse the MR2. Somebody will endorse this one. No, we'll endorse this one for what I think is going to be $36,000. So I'm going to send it to you, JP. 36 to bring it home. You think you can get it for less?
I do. I think it's going to be in the 30s, but I don't know how deep into the 30s. So I'm just going to say $30,007 and hand it off to Romi.
Wow. I like the car a lot. I think it's great. I think it's just everything about it's good. Like it just looks cool, but I don't think it's going to go as much as you think, Deeb. I think 33.
33.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Nerd Herd agrees with you guys. I mean, we're basically, everyone's kind of in the high 20s to mid 30s. There's no one jumping into the 40s here.
It's in such good condition.
It really is. I mean, it's just, it's like if it were if it were Mark II GTI, it'd be $50,000 with 35,000 miles on it. But, unfortunately, these cars just don't have the following. But they certainly have more of a following. They made a hell of a lot more of these than they did the MR2. That's for sure.
And it doesn't look like a spaceship from the last Starfighter. So,
That's true.
Yeah. Sahan, great pull on that car. Thank you for
good job,
for
Sahan.
bringing that to us. Now, go ahead, JP. Finish this one up.
No, that's okay. Yeah, what do you guys think this little RX-7 will bring? Is it gonna vapor lock at like low dollars, or is it gonna shoot for the moon? Is this the time to buy a classic car on Bring a Trailer? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and let's get to that last car.
It could be vapor locking right now at 18.
That's true.
Yeah. They wanted to roll it outside for photos, but it was vapor locked. So, So JP, my follow-up question to you is: would you rather have that RX-7 or two MR2s? And now watch, he's going to be like, I'll take the Scirocco.
I'll take the 911 Targa.
If it was the MR2 that we talked about earlier, I'd definitely take the MR2s. And then sell one of them and get one of these, and then you have both. Come on, guys, make money.
Bingo.
That's what this is all about.
You would sell your car? I'm shocked.
Yeah, I know. Who would ever do that?
Who would ever think
Well, but I mean, if someone was like, here, do you want two MR2s or one RX-7? What are you new? More is better. It's like potato chips. Come on. I'm a scholar of the professor, the man who knows.
He does know.
All right, let's get to this last car because this one's going to throw some people off, I think.
Now, for the nerd herd who's been following the show for the last year, they're going to think that I misread all of this and that Sahan actually picked this car.
What?
But it was JP who selected for us. Romi, without looking, can you tell me what car that is? Do you know what that is?
I don't know. Is it from Hardcastle and McCormick?
It does look like a Coyote.
That's a good guess, though. That's a
Thank
really
you.
good guess.
Thank you.
A modern Coyote, yeah.
JP selected for us
Alpha?
a 2022 Ultima GTR. Our car is on Cars and Bids. It's showing just 500 miles.
Ultima.
And it is listed out of Downers Grove, Illinois. So here's the gist, right? You can order an Ultima GTR and then pick from a bevy of drivetrains for your particular car. Our car sets itself apart because it has three really cool options. One, it's a leather interior car, and it's a full leather interior up on the dash and everything. There isn't even, I would say, misplaced wood across the dash, but this is the upgraded interior. Two, our car has air conditioning, which means, Romi, you can own this car in Las Vegas and drive the absolute snot out of it and really have a good time. And then three, the engine that the owner of this car selected is the one I think you guys in studio would also choose. It is a supercharged 7-liter crate V8. This is a Chevy motor. I lost my place on it. And then, here's the kicker. JP, did you notice it was mated to a G50 Porsche-derived gearbox? It's a G50 gearbox. It's really cool.
I did not notice that.
So
that's a big deal.
So would you rather have this or the Targa?
What does it weigh?
The ultimate question. There's no way this thing weighs 2,000 pounds. It is really light.
There's your Whipple supercharger, Romi.
Yeah, with the supercharger, the leather, and the AC, it's probably 2,100 pounds. But I bet you can get one of these.
Looks
that's
like a jet.
1,800 pounds. It's nothing. Yeah, our car is making 600 horsepower at the wheels with the supercharged small block. This thing is sick. 18-inch OZ staggered width wheels, AP racing brakes. Removable Momo steering wheel, and of course the big thing is the air conditioning because a lot of these don't have them.
Right.
Used ones of these sell for $40,000-$50,000 all day long, but a lot of those are from 2000 or from 2004.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is it an Ultima? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ultima, yeah.
Is that a kit
Not
car?
an Ultima.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't a Lincoln moment. It's an Ultima with
it's
a
an
U.
like ultimate, but Ultima.
Yeah.
And is it a kit car?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
But they get that exemption for being like a fabricated car, so I don't think they have to comply with a lot of
it's like
DOT
a factory
rules.
five,
It's like a TVR.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's really cool. I personally, I don't like the Momo wheel that's on it, and I don't like the wood across the dash. It looks like a really old Jaguar. But the seats and the dashboard, it's like you put a prototypo on this thing, JP, and miss me with the like 600 pound-foot of torque. I'll take the 600 horsepower, but like save the torque. I don't want to spin it. I just want to fly. And I think this car, I bet you it's absolute hoot to drive. There's a pretty cool driving video. He doesn't really get on it, but after it warms up and he drives it for about a mile or two, he starts to get on it, and it just sounds incredible. I imagine this thing is like literally like driving a prototype car at Le Mans, but it's for the street. So, JP, I'm surprised when you picked it. I was like, oh, what a joke. And then I really kind of delved into it and look at all the equipment and look at the specs. I love this thing. I'm shocked. And when I went through comps on classic.com, and you could do this right now if you have time, JP, do Ultima, just that, and do the comps. On page 2, somebody got one of these and painted it in Rothman's livery, and it damn thing looks like a 962. It's effing gorgeous. So really, really cool. JP, I like it, and they don't bring a lot of money. I'd be shocked if this one brings 100, and I'd be shocked if he bought it for less than 150. So I think this thing is going to wind up being a deal for the second owner. A lot like when you build a Porsche, you want to be the second guy to own it, not the guy that paid the price for doing it. So I think that's going to happen here. John, I sent it back to you. I know we were trying to replace a car because we were Porsche heavy. Sorry, Chris Carbine. But why did you select it? Was it just because we haven't seen one before? I don't think we've ever covered one of these.
Yeah, it's because I never heard of one. And, we try to cover interesting stuff on this show. And, the harder it is to bid on, the weirder it is, or the more rare it is, the harder it is to assess and play the game, right? Yeah, that dashboard, everything about this car aesthetically is fantastic until you hit that dash. The gauges look like something that you get on, the gauges from Amazon or something. I mean, they just look cheap and chintzy, whereas everything else is bespoke on this car. I mean, look at that. What the F were they thinking with these gauges? Right? It looks like, somebody's kit, like their kit, like, little Mercedes Roadster, 30s Roadster or something like that. Totally. But the good news is that stuff's fairly easy to change. I mean, like you said, the prototypo steering would be great. Swap out those gears, get rid of that wood, and now in a livery on this car, holy cow, it's got to be dangerous as hell. This thing has Romi written all
JP,
over.
How about a Coca-Cola livery on that car?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it would totally look like a 960. Romi, what do you think of this thing?
I think it's interesting. I love the engine. I love the engine. What kind of steering does it? Steering and suspension are on it. Because that's the interesting thing. Because if it could go straight, great, but you still have a weird rack on it.
It looks like it's got remote reservoir coilovers at all four corners. I mean, this car is built.
Oh, really?
This car is
Romi,
built to be a track car. It is unbelievable.
Look, I mean, it's tube frame, independent suspension, every corner. I mean, this thing is.
Oh, it's going to be awesome to drive.
This is a race car with a G50 transmission. Holy
my God, with the G50.
Frick.
What a fun car! Oh my God, I like it. I think it's hideous, but I like it. I bet
you.
You
think it's hideous? Yeah, I wasn't sure what you thought of the.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the exterior
hideous,
looks pretty good from certain angles.
The exterior is okay, but and no matter where you go, everyone's gonna be like, kid car. Right. It's not manufactured, obviously, but it's probably a really, really, really fun drive.
It reminds me a lot, Romi, of your Land Rover Defender. I mean, it's just shorter. It's basically nothing but a motor and a big supercharger on it, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But this one would actually go around a corner probably, whereas your Land Rover would probably tip over. At some point. I'm always kind of terrified.
But did they say how many liters the supercharger was?
3.3 It's bigger.
That's pretty big.
It's bigger than my Carrera. Yeah, it's bigger than my Carrera.
Not bigger than mine.
What do we think this thing's gonna bring, guys? Let's get some numbers.
Romi, I'm surprised you don't have a deeper voice with your big supercharger.
Just big shoes. That's all.
Big heels. All right.
Big heels.
So JP,
numbers. What do we got?
I could not find any really good comps. There was a 2022 Ultima GTR that sold for 44,000 British pounds in Great Britain.
So 80 grand.
yeah, and they didn't have mileage on it. This car is brand spanking new. It's only got 500 miles.
Really?
Like I said, yeah. And so then there's an Evolution Sport, but I think that's a different spec car with more downforce and wings and all this other stuff. So I don't think it compares to those, and those cars bring over 100 grand. But we're like throwing darts with a blindfold on.
Totally.
Again, our car is sitting at $25,000 on 7 bids, and it doesn't close for another 6 days. So my first question to you, JP, as I give you my bid, which we're just guessing here, is it on the wrong platform? Would this car be better served on BAT, or is it because it's weird, it's on the perfect platform? I think you could argue both. But I'm going to triple my number. I'm going to triple the number it's at, and I'm going to give you $75,000 where I think it would sell. And if it did, it would be kind of a high watermark. But all the other comps are 20 years older, and they have a lot more miles. So I wouldn't be surprised if it brought 90 to 100. But I'd be if it does. Let's say if it goes 65, 60, or 55. I think it doesn't sell at that number because clearly this guy just spent $150,000 to $200,000 on this thing, right? I mean, look at it. The equipment list, JP, is $100,000 worth of parts. Easy if you took everything before you bought the car. The Willens harness and the MSD and the wheels and the
G50 transmission is $25,000.
Yeah,
Super
so I mean, like there's just no way. So I'm guessing he spent $200 on it. At 75, I'm not even confident it sells. He's probably looking for 100 at least to get off of it. But at $100,000, it feels like it's a really good deal. So I don't know. 75 to you, JP, and please understand, please forgive me. I am completely guessing here.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is. I mean, there's just no comp, so we're all guessing here. I mean, the Factory 5 cars, like the Factory 5 Shelby Daytonas and the Cobras, and they're like a lot of those kind of weird cars are really, really soft right now. I had a conversation with our friend. Oh yeah,
that's
great.
Cool.
Yeah. So, was it Andy Stalls going? Yeah, put a Porsche badge on it and piss off the pleated chinos, and just say, hey, it's got a Porsche tranny. We're good. And I approve of that plan. This car is screaming for a livery. Absolutely.
Yes.
It would look so much better.
100%.
But all that said, I'm going to go over. I'm going to say $85,000 because it is just one hell of a car.
It's a good
I don't
guess.
know what you get that would compete with this. I was talking to Luke over at the Audi Henderson store this morning, and he's he's their used car buyer, and they have the Lamborghini store, and he's like, all the supercars are really hurting. They're just not moving. This feels like, supercar territory, but without having to spend the big money. And I think we're going to start seeing some crypto bros going out there trying to, flex a little bit. And this seems like a great way to do that without dropping $750,000 on an Aventador or something like that. What do you think, Romy? Oh, wait, did I give a number? Yeah, I said 85. What do you think,
You
Romy?
said 85, yeah. I really like the car. I
could see you in it.
Yeah,
I bet
think it's
Sahan
great.
would like it too. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun to drive. It's just an interesting car and different, and nobody really has it. And I think to JP's point, getting an Aventador is stupid right now, but getting this car, you're getting almost the same performance, but you'll die.
Yeah.
But,
the same threat to your life.
There's a higher threat to your life, which I kind of like. I like it a lot. I'm going to be crazy and say that it's going to go for 110.
Are you going to put that 110 bid on it? Are we going to get this thing?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I mean, we should get it.
Put your bid in now.
It looks like I like it a lot.
Where is the car? Where is it?
It just needs a new
good
interior.
question. I read it to you, but I forgot.
I think you said East Coast.
Downers Grove, Illinois. 60515.
That'd be a hell of a road trip across the country, but hey, it's got AC. I mean,
AC.
You had the SVJ driving down the the strip. What was that like? And what do you think it'd be? How much different do you think it would be driving that versus this down the strip these days?
Well, I think with the SVJ, sorry, it's the Super Viagra jerk off car. I had that car, and it's like every light, rev your car. That's all it is. I think, people freak out and take pictures and run in front of the car. It's ridiculous. I think with that car, it would just be more of like people would be curious what it is. They were like,
Yeah.
"What is that thing?
Yeah.
What is that thing?" It'd be a totally different experience. And then when you take off, it would be hilarious. You just smoke the tires and take off. I think that car would just be a pisser to drive.
It's probably as loud as your SVJ was too, and you know,
I don't
if
know,
you
that
did
thing
it was really loud. But
It
if
was
you
straight pipe,
if
too.
you
It was
did
loud.
the if you did a livery like that Rothmans or something that's over the top, it would just be that much more. Holy
Then it would
crap.
get way different.
It'd be
attention.
like just,
But in the red, no. But
somebody
if the
driving a race car.
Rothmans,
Yeah.
I think people would freak out.
Yeah.
And they would think it's something special.
Because they wouldn't. I didn't know what it was. If you
Yeah.
made that look like some '60s, race car with the livery on it, I'd be like, I don't know what that is, but
Right.
it looks really awesome. So there it goes. Bye bye.
Like that. What was it, Deeb, that I saw in Beverly Hills? Bazzini?
Oh
What
yeah,
was it?
Bizzarini.
Bizzarini. That thing was amazing.
Bizzarini. Yeah,
Woo!
beautiful. With a Corvette motor, and the designer who used to work for Ferrari went and made his own car, and then he left there and he wound up working for Lamborghini, and he's the one that made the Mura. Bizzarini made the Mura, so same design.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Well,
Yeah.
what do
I mean,
you
it's
guys
no
think?
MR2, but
It's no MR2.
You don't have to be a hairdresser. to drive it.
RX-7.
exotic dancing.
What do you guys think? This is gonna. People are gonna just. Is it gonna bring Ultima money, or is it gonna be the ultimate money? Let us know in the
Yeah.
comments below. This is Cars and Bids, so it's not uncommon for the bidding to stop days before it's over. But this one still has a long way to go, so we will find out. All right, so before we end the show, again, shout out to the Nerd Herd. You guys rock.
guys
Nerd
do
Herd, you
rock.
guys need to know that we will not be doing a show this Sunday because we will be in the Northwest at max RPM, and we will not be back in studio in time to do a Sunday night show. So make some other plans. Pet your dog. Go visit your mom in the old folks' home.
Spend some time with your kids.
Spend time with your kids if you. Whatever. All the things that you neglect when you hang out with us, go ahead and do. But we will miss you again. If you guys are anywhere near the Northwest, come up and visit us. Otherwise, we will see you a week from tonight, 6:30, right here Pacific time. I think on the next episode we might be having Zach Shefska or Ray Shefska, one of the two. Probably Ray, I think, first from the Ray and Zach show and Car Edge. We're looking forward to seeing them joining the show. We've got some other great guests coming up too.
Yeah, with a little luck, unless they saw it tonight.
Unless they saw this
they're like,
episode.
we're not doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see? Can I read off one more comment? It's hysterical.
Sure,
These
yeah,
people
go ahead.
Are awesome. Randy B said, "Oh my God," he said. I'm sorry. No. The driver 88 said, "If someone gets it for 75, they still won't get laid."
Driver
Oh my
88, I
God.
think, is my buddy. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
Actually,
Oh my
so
God.
what was it? Somebody just said do the show for max RPM. We'll be on our way home Sunday, but we could do a Saturday
Yeah, you should do it from
morning
there.
show. We could just, instead of doing our little speech, we could just do the show.
Yeah, you should.
I don't know.
That'd be great. I'd
Maybe we
watch
do
it.
that. That might be an option. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll bring all this gear up there. We shall see. What do you guys? Do you guys want us to do a show on Saturday morning? Would you guys watch? Or I don't even know. We'll see. We'll
Why
talk
not?
about it. All right, guys. Good night. We will
right.
see you Wednesday. Bye.
Good
We're at the end
night.
of this show.
Take care. Bye,
Goodbye.
Deeb.
Get those nerds!